Hello and welcome to RStudio Cloud. So by now you all should have received a login email from RStudio Cloud signing you up for our workspace for the semester. What I want to do in this video is show you a little bit about how RStudio Cloud works and why you might want to use it this semester. So what you're looking at is Schwab-McCoy's login. Now Link is my toddler, but he is also very advanced for being an almost 2-year-old. He has his own RStudio Cloud account, which is pretty cool. If you click on the workspace, and you all have a workspace on your own RStudio Cloud instance, you can see the courses that Link is taking. This semester he is logged in or signed up for Math 360. So let's take a look at what is happening in the Math 360 workspace. Now, like all of you, Link has an assignment, and his assignment is his first RStudio Cloud project. So I'm going to click the Start button and take a look at what we've got here in RStudio Cloud. Now, RStudio Cloud is a web interface for a statistical software program called RStudio. Now, there are a lot of reasons why we might want to use the web interface version of RStudio as opposed to a local installation on your computer. The primary reason is simplicity. So with RStudio Cloud, I can go in as the instructor, upload all of the data sets that you need, all of the extra R options that you might need, and get everything ready for you guys to go. So instead of worrying about installation problems or those sorts of headaches, you can log right into RStudio, which is great. There's another nice little trick that we'll see, and I'll show you guys that here in just a little bit. So here is what RStudio Cloud looks like when you first log in, and you can see that there are now 3, soon to be 4 panels. The first panel that we're looking at is the R console. So you can write code or do calculations directly in this console. So if, for example, I wanted to calculate the square root of 2020, I could do that using the sqrt command. And the square root of 2020 looks like it's about 45. If I wanted to take a look at a data set in R, so for example, a very popular data set in R is the MT cars data set. This is a set of information about cars taken from Motor Trend magazine. I could use the data command to take a look at that data set. I could use a command called head to view the first 6 observations. So here we see the first 6 cars in the data set, they're miles per gallon. Notice if you're a car fan, this data set is from 1974, so miles per gallon are a little bit out of date, and so on. If we go over to the environment on the top right, you can see that there are 32 cars in this data set, 32 observations, 11 variables total. If I want to look at this data set, so maybe make a plot of the MT cars data set, I can write plot parentheses MT cars, and here we go. Now this plot isn't very informative, it's not nicely customized. We're going to spend a lot of time this semester on creating effective data visualizations. So data visualizations that tell a story that we want. But this is a good start for a 4-letter command. Now, if we want to go back into RStudio Cloud, and apologies for that, I just shut that out. That's okay. We'll go back to our workspace, log back in. Now here we're seeing the original assignment. So this is what I created for you. This is Lincoln's version. So now Lincoln has his very own first RStudio Cloud project. Your version, once you create it, is going to be the version that you want to work in. So we'll go back to Lincoln's version. Here we see all of the changes. Now on the Files tab, I'm going to click on my first RStudio.rmd. What this RMD document stands for is R Markdown. So Markdown is a language common in a lot of different programming editors that helps you format your text in a really, really simple way. So, best way to see how Markdown works is to actually try it. The first thing that I want you to do anytime you're interacting with or creating a Markdown document is to look for the author line up in the header and add your name. So this is Schwab-McCoy's first RStudio. And I'm going to go ahead and click this knit button. This knit button is going to take all of the code, all of the text that I've written here, and create a new document. So now we have a nice, cleanly formatted document with all of the code, all of the output included. Not only that, but at the very top, I can click on a section that I want to go to and pop down directly to that section. If you're using the notes in blue line, this should hopefully look familiar. This is how those notes in blue line are created, which is pretty cool. So let's go back to our project and take a look at how we might interact with this. Now, the first thing that I want to point out here is the packages and data section of your Markdown documents. Now, it's very important that you don't change, modify, or delete this section in any way. And there's a couple reasons for that. The first reason is that in this chunk here that says knit R, this is setting a bunch of options that control how your output is visualized and how it creates in the final document. For example, setting echo equals true means that I want all of the code to display in your work. Warning equals false says that I don't want to see any warning messages. And message equals false suppresses any other non-warning type messages. So we want to leave that there. The next set of commands that you're seeing are library commands. R is an open source programming language designed around doing statistics, and lots of people have contributed to it over the years. There are thousands and thousands of R packages available for anyone to use at any time. There are, at any given time, probably about 4 or 5 that we're going to be using in this class. They'll help standardize notation, create some additional functionalities for us to use. I'm going to include those libraries at the beginning of any document, so make sure those are included whenever you start up R. The second thing that you're seeing here is a color palette. Now, it is totally up to you whether or not you want to reference this color palette, and I end up referencing this in the slides. What you're seeing here are what are known as hexadecimal representations of different colors, and this particular color palette is designed to be colorblind friendly. So if we search for any one of these hexadecimals in Google, you'll see what these colors actually look like. So this is the third color in that palette. It's kind of a deep green. Again, I use these in the slides in class to help make sure that everybody can see those. But if you don't want to use these in your own homeworks or visualizations, that is totally okay. Now, next we're going to read in a data set. So this data set is the County Complete data set. This contains information for all counties in the U.S. And we are going to do a little bit extra to calculate a new variable here. To execute any of the code in an R chunk, what you're going to want to do is look for a play button on the very right. So I'm going to hit this play button. That's going to run the current chunk. You'll see a status bar occur on this vertical axis, showing you that the code has been executed. And now County Complete exists for us over in the environment. I can click on County Complete to get a good look at this data set. I can scroll through all of the variables, or I could go ahead and just scroll through and run some code to look at it. So let's talk about your assignment for my first RStudio project, or should I say your first RStudio project. One of the things that I found is most difficult for students that are working in R the first time is actually doing it. How do you write that code to begin with? Throughout the semester, anytime we introduce any new R code or new functions, I'm going to provide some samples to get you started. So you'll see a lot of sample code in the notes. Since I am unavailable, since I'm out of town at a workshop today, what I want you guys to do is get a little practice with some of that code in the notes. So I'll be posting a video in the modules for Blue Line on the section 3 notes describing and displaying data. So you'll have the complete lecture outline, but you'll also have a video recording of the slides that I would have gone through in class. This video recording is going to work you through how some things are calculated in R, how we make some of the choices for this exercise. To make sure that you are following along, I'll ask you to make some audits or some changes. So you'll see 5 exercises in this assignment that pull some of that sample code from class and walk you through making some changes. Once you've finished that, so once you have made the changes in your R Markdown documents, you'll hit this knit button a final time. If you look down in the console, you'll see that that is working. You'll get a Markdown document. This is your compiled HTML. You'll want to save this, so you'll save this web page somewhere on your computer. And then you'll upload it to Blue Line. So this will be your final submission document for your first RStudio Cloud project. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at any time. This is due before our next class meeting. So this is due before class on Tuesday, January 28th. Have a great day. Enjoy the video. Good luck working in RStudio Cloud, and I will see you guys next week.